All right, welcoming you to gentle yoga. This is a mat class where we'll be getting down onto the floor and up. So if that is something that sounds too challenging for you today, you might be more comfortable in our chair yoga class, or you can just watch, do what you can do. A lot of our folks here, well, all of our folks in this room right now, with the exception of myself, are caring for Waldenstroms, to my knowledge. And so you might be experiencing, as a result of that or treatment, fatigue. You might be experiencing peripheral neuropathy, other things as a result of your Waldenstroms or treatment from that. So I will say what I always say: take exquisite care of yourself. Do the things that feel good. Don't do the things that feel not good. We are kind of focusing our class today on stiffness, and stiffness in the joints in particular. Thanking one of our participants for asking the question a couple weeks ago, why am I so stiff and what can I do? So we're kind of joking around and thinking of ourselves as the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz, who needs to be oiled, and he's just standing there and the only thing he can move is his mouth. Oil me! And Dorothy and the Scarecrow have to come up and oil his joints. And so in our situation, we're going to liken yoga to that lubrication of the joints. Through movement, the synovial fluid bathes the joints, and this, all you need to know is motion is lotion. And yoga, when we get ourselves into these extreme but safe postures, we can increase the flow of synovial fluid, and we can help bring nutrients and also carry waste away with that synovial fluid. So that's one of our goals of today's class. And moving the spine in all directions, keeping our spine healthy, is also very important in terms of drying out. And this is something that just happens as we age. It can be really debilitating, this osteoarthritis, stiffening. So if we just keep ourselves moving and doing what feels right to you, we can improve that connective tissue, we can get fluid pumping to the muscles, we can improve our coordination, balance, all of those things. So let's go ahead and get started. I will invite you to find all the things you need if you don't already have them. Taking note that I have a mat, I have a couple yoga blocks, which is optional. I have a chair that's for balance, if I might need a little support. I also have some pillows, because I really like to get comfortable at the end of our classes. And that's a really, really important pose at the very end of our class. I don't want you to skip that pose. And a strap, if you have a strap. And of course, something to drink. Another thing that we can do to keep ourselves fluid is to actually hydrate more. So I'm going to start myself off in a seated posture, but I'm going to show you how I get there safely. I am coming to my piece of furniture, doesn't matter what it is, and I'm going to transition down to the floor safely without rounding my spine, which is contraindicated for osteoporosis, some of us caring for that. And welcoming you, Betty Ann. So we're just getting started. I'm just going to lean forward, place my hands on my chair, bend my good knee and place it on the earth, other knee coming down, and then I'm just sitting upon my tuffet, however I want to get there. And then I would love you to find a comfortable way to sit. And this might mean you're sitting up on the edge of a pillow, blanket, or block. This might mean you have the legs folded underneath you, or you have the legs crossed in front of you. Right, so we're just getting settled in our gentle yoga class today. We're going to be focusing on stiffness in the joints, and we're in a seated posture to start. If getting onto the floor in a seated posture like this is uncomfortable for you, you can sit in a chair. We don't want to be pushing through pain or putting our joints into painful situations. So I'm coming to my block, and I'm going to get us started with a little bit of sound. And this is a good way to just begin to center ourselves. I'm just feeling my seat upon the earth, my tall spine. And I'm beginning with a few clearing, cleansing breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Just beginning to arrive, inhaling and exhaling. Finding a breath cycle and rhythm that feels right for me. There is no wrong way to breathe. And then I'll just share with you an opening invocation for our class today. Sarasvati Devyai Namaha. Taking a few more breaths here. And then if you had your eyes closed, you can blink the eyes open. Now I feel a little more present after sharing some sound vibration, and I will also let you know we have a sound meditation class that all it is sound vibration, and that can be very, very comforting, very relaxing. So I'm going to come down onto my hands and knees now. Not too much time in that seated posture because some of us might not feel totally comfortable there. And I'm going to, if I am somebody with tender knees, I'm going to pad up, bring my blanket underneath my knees. Actually, I think I'll point the other direction today. All right. So I'm coming to my hands and knees. If you're somebody who has wrist issues, you might try just pointing the fingers out to the sides a little bit. And all we're going to do in this hands and knees posture to start, with the knees under the hips, wrists under the shoulders, is make some circles with the whole body. So we're circling the body, just starting to get this WD-40 synovial fluid in our joints, starting with the wrists. I can feel some movement in my wrist joints, my elbows, my shoulders. And I'm not forgetting to breathe as I take some circles here. I might come back in the other direction, noticing how this affects my hips, my knees. It could be the slowest circle ever. You could be Energizer Bunny, anything in between. Again, caring for our own energy levels, caring for our own personal mobility issues. I'll slowly come on back to center, and I'm going to tuck my toes under and walk my hands back. So I'm giving my toes a really big stretch here. So I'm sitting back towards my toes, and you can decide how far back you want to go here, if it feels like a lot on the knees or the toes. And I'm going to stretch my jaw with lion's pose. So I'll be opening my mouth, taking a breath in, and sticking my tongue out and creating a little ha, roar sound. Breathing in, closing the mouth, exhaling, and one more. And walking myself back to my hands and knees. I'm going to stretch my right leg long with the toe on the earth, and I'm just going to rock forward and rock back. Again, if you have wrist issues, you might point the fingers out to the sides. Giving my toes, my calf, my ankles a little stretch here. And then I'll just see what it feels like, coming back to something stable and static, to lift my right heel up, noticing my belly. I might pull my belly up and in a little bit. And then I'm going to bring my knee back down and switch sides. I got the left leg long, toe on the earth. I'm rocking forward, rocking back. If my wrists begin to hurt, I can take a break. Rock forward, rock back, and then I'll be just lifting that left heel up straight out from the hip, if that feels good to you. Pulling the belly up and taking a breath. And then releasing that knee down. Let's just kick the legs out one at a time with the awareness on the stability of the core. Taking a couple kicks here. And you could stay here doing just this. Or you might like to add the opposite arm. So if I'm kicking that right leg up, I'm going to spider walk the left hand forward, very carefully extending that left arm, pulling the belly up and in, and then switching sides. Left leg long, very carefully lifting the right arm up, and just noticing, without judgment, what feels good to me here. I could flow a little bit in our balancing tiger. And I notice that this is a whole body movement. And I'm really starting to get oiled up. I could take maybe one more on each side. And then I'm going to do a sit back in my child's pose. So I like to do child's pose with the knees separated because I have low back issues, and this creates some, I won't be rounding my back as much in this posture. And then I'm going to try to bring my head down towards the earth. And if I don't quite get there, I can place something underneath my forehead to bring the earth up to me. I'd like to have something resting underneath my forehead. So I can let go a little bit here and take some breaths, feeling the length in the spine. I might walk my hands forward a little bit, feeling the opening in my shoulders. And then I'll make my way back up to my hands and knees. And this is the last thing we're going to do in hands and knees. But I want to take care of my shoulders. So my shoulders, all I'm going to be doing here is just letting my chest sink and squeezing my shoulder blades together. And then I'm pushing into the earth and letting the shoulder blades slide to the sides. So that's a very, very subtle movement. I'm calling them scapular push-ups. Right? So just letting my chest sink, squeezing, pushing into the earth, and finding that breath. Oh yeah, I forgot. I should be breathing. You could stay just doing these scapular push-ups, shoulder blade push-ups, or you might like to morph into a cat-cow. So with my cow posture, I'm arching my back, my belly is sinking down, my tailbone is up, my chest is up. And with my cat shape, I might just be coming to neutral if I'm caring for osteoporosis and tucking my tailbone under, like I have a tail and I'm tucking it. Or I might be able to round my back a little more than that if I feel cleared to do so. So moving in between these two shapes, arching the back, and maybe coming to neutral or rounding the back. A couple more times. All right. And then from there, I'm going to do one more lion's pose. So I'm sitting back on my toes. Toes are tucked. I'm plugging my fingertips into the earth. You control how far back you go and what that feels like on your toes and on your knees. Tucking my chin, I'm going to open my mouth and create a roar with my exhales. Tongue is sticking out. Think of it as a detoxing kind of breath where you're getting rid of things you don't want. One more. All right, very, very good, guys. So let's come on up to balance on the knees. And I'm going to walk over to my piece of furniture, step 1 foot underneath, and come to my standing posture. I'm going to clear away anything on my mat that might get in my way. And I'm just going to take a little sip of water. So we did a little bit of seated centering, and we did some hands and knees warm up. So just noticing how you feel after doing the hands and knees. And sometimes hands and knees can be a little challenging. So I'm coming to stand. Coming to stands, and maybe taking some wrist circles. If you are feeling as I am, like I put some pressure on my wrists, which is a good thing for, for strengthening bone. We want to put pressure on the joints, and we want to do so safely. But if you're caring for osteoarthritis, we don't want a high impact load, right? So we don't want to be, forcefully jamming things like if we were running. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into some full body movement, and then we'll break it down and go through the joints. So I'm going to sit down for a moment into my imaginary chair, just a little bend to the knees, and I'm bringing my hips back, and my hands are going to come to heart center today. As I inhale, I'm going to come up, lift my arms out and up. And as I exhale, I'm sinking down, hands to heart center, bringing those hips back. Chair salutes, breathing in, lifting up. Exhale, sink down. I'm lubricating many joints here, breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, sinking down. We'll take 2 more of these. So I'm not rounding my back here, and I'm pulling my belly towards my spine. I don't have to go down very far. Very good. And then I'm just going to come up to stand. And I might take a tiny bit of a wider stance. Maybe my hands are on my hips. I'm going to take a peek down at my toes, and I'll see if I could lift all 10 toes. Lifting all 10 toes, spreading them, and maybe digging them back down. So we'll do a couple of those. Toe lifts, spreads, and digs. Just getting the toe joints warmed up, and maybe the toes listen to you today, maybe they don't. And then I'll go ahead and roll my weight to the outer edges of my feet and then towards the inner edges. So this is a way we don't often move our ankles purposefully, but it happens. So I'm just kind of doing a little movement here, inside edges of my feet, outside edges of my feet. And then I'm going to come up onto my tiptoes, and I might also lift my arms up a little bit and float my way down. You can hold on to something if you need support. Breathing in, breathing out. I am perfect just the way I am. There's nothing I need to do to change who I am in this moment. Just showing up and being your authentic self. For 2 more. You could go as slowly or as quickly as you like. All right, then I'll take my hands to my hips and I'm going to bring the weight into my right foot and just bend my left knee, keeping the left toes and forefoot on the earth. And I'm just going to begin to circle my left knee in one direction. Maybe it's clockwise. And I'm not going to stay here long. I'm just getting the hip lubricated here. You can imagine that ball and socket joint. The top of the femur bone is like an orange, and the pelvis within which it sits is like an upside down coffee cup. And we're kind of imagining some nice WD-40 getting in there. All right, switching sides. I'm coming to my left leg, bending my left knee, and rotating just my knee with my left foot still on the earth. And maybe we're going in a counterclockwise direction. You could go slowly, you could go quickly. And again, imagining that orange in an upside down coffee cup and getting all of that bathed in that beautiful synovial fluid, which can both carry nutrients to our cartilage and take away waste. All right. And then we'll come back from there, and I'm just going to take a little bit of a wider stance and begin to twist my torso from side to side, letting my arms swing along, and I'm going to keep my head pointing forward. So these last 2 things we did borrowing from our Tai Chi class. Although I'm not trained in Tai Chi, I feel like these are pretty good little all-body warm-up movements and that work with our class today. So I've got both feet on the earth, but if you wanted to, you could kind of lift one ankle up and we're just letting the arms swing. And maybe a couple more. All right. And then I'm going to come just to stand with both feet anchoring down. I'll bring both arms out to the sides. With both arms out to the sides, I'm going to tip my fingertips back towards my face, and like I'm holding up 2 walls. And then I'll bring my fist around my thumbs and drop my knuckles down. We're breathing in, lifting, spreading the fingers, breathing out, making the fist around the thumbs, dropping down. Let's take one more inhale and exhale. Beautiful. I'm going to leave my right arm lifted. Right, so my right arm out to the right, and I'm tilting my left ear to the left side, making little circles. And those circles can move downward little by little. What does it feel like to be in my body in this moment? Resting the right hand behind the back or on the hip, and I'll spin my chin down and just take a couple more easy breaths here. And then coming back to center and stretching that left arm out to the left. Tilting my right ear to the right, taking some circles here. Right, this side could feel different, so just honoring whatever little cricks you come across there. Arm moving ever downward, breathing. And then taking that arm behind the back or resting it on the hip and spinning the chin down. A couple of breaths here. You could even sigh it out the mouth, kind of let go of a little bit of the burden that you carry with you. All right, and then coming back to center. I want to share with you something kind of fun, kind of hard. We're going to be doing a chair pose and then we're going to be twisting within that chair pose. So I'll start with my chair pose, but today, right now, I'm going to bring my feet together. If this doesn't feel right to you, you could have the feet apart. I'm going to bend my knees and I'm sinking down and bringing my hips back, pulling my belly towards my spine, right? And then I'm bringing my hands to heart center. And I'm taking an inhale here, exhaling, just twisting my torso to the right and coming back on the inhale, twisting to the left, exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist right. Last one, inhale, center. Exhale, twist left. And then I'm coming back up and I'm just going to walk it out for a moment. That was hard. Gold stars. Walking it out. And of course, walking is one of those things we can do to lubricate many joints and work on our proprioception, work on our coordination, opposite arm, opposite leg. And we're starting in the office to talk about our walk for Waldenstroms, and we're going to have a lot of walking themed offerings for you. And I hope that we'll create a community team and we can raise some funds together. All right, I'm coming back to my feet together chair pose. And this time, when I twist, I'm going to twist right. I'm going to bring one hand to the outside, the left hand to the outside of my right knee, and then I'm bringing that right arm up. Coming back to center, hands to heart center. Exhale, opening my wings, twisting left. Breathing in center. Breathing out, opening. Last one, breathing in center. Breathing out, opening, and then coming up. And once again, walking it out. Chair pose is hard. Chair pose twists are even harder. And I could take a little sip of water here as well if I like. All right, transitioning to some of our classic yoga shapes, but we're going to add a little bit of a twist, thinking about how we want to bring the synovial fluid into the joints. So even just getting into our foundational warrior one with the right foot forward and the left foot back at a little angle, and we're sinking into that right knee. And if you feel wobbly, we want a nice wide stance. You could walk the right foot to the right and bringing the hands to heart center. So even just getting here, I'm putting my joints, you can think of the hip joints, you can think of the knees, you can think of the ankles. We are putting them into a range of motion that is going to be helpful. Now, I could stay here in my static warrior one, or I might imagine that I have two big levers right out in front of me. So I'm going to reach my arms right out in front of me. And as I pull those giant levers back, I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together and straighten my right leg. I'm breathing in, sinking into that right knee, reaching. Breathing out, lever back, squeezing. Maybe it's just one arm. Breathing, pulling. And maybe we could take one more lever pull. Beautiful, friends. Hands coming to the hips. I'm going to shorten my stance a little bit. And today I'll just rest my hands on the back of my lower back, or my sacrum here. And I'm just going to take a little bow forward, keeping my chin tucked. And this could be where I stay for my pyramid pose, a static pyramid. I'm pulling both kneecaps up, so I'm nice and strong in my legs, and I'm not going to push too far here. Now you could stay here, or you could maybe make it a little flow with me. So as I come up out of it, I'm going to lift both arms up. And as I reach my heart forward, I'm going to bring my arms back behind me, again, squeezing my shoulder blades. Breathing in, coming up, lifting the arms. Breathing out, heart towards the big toe, arms back. You got it. One more. And then I'll come up and I'm going to play for a moment. I can't help myself. I love playing within our yoga class shapes. I'm going to step up, swing my arms, and step back. So I'm stepping up, weight in the right foot, lifting that left leg, and stepping back. And just playing with finding a little bit of balance there, hanging in midair just a moment. And you might take one more of those. Beautiful. All right, so let's move into a high lunge. I am going to keep my right foot forward, and my left foot is going to come back. This time, this could get wobbly, all 10 toes are facing the same direction, and my back heel might be lifting a little bit up off the earth. I'm keeping my torso nice and upright. If you feel wobbly here, hold onto your chair or walk that right foot a little farther to the right. I'm going to clap my hands out in front of me. My arms are straight. And then I'm going to slowly wipe my right arm, twisting to the right. So I'm looking over that right shoulder. And then I'm bringing the hands back to center. Nice little clap. And wiping to the right. And last one, we're breathing in. Breathing out. And coming back to center, hands to the hips. I'm just going to step it up, and I might do a little walk in place to kind of reset my hips a little bit. All right, gentle yoga. We're not pushing through pain or discomfort. If you feel tired, you can stop, you can rest. Let's do all of that on the other side. Now that you know what it is, it'll be easier, I promise. Left foot forward. Right foot back. Create your warrior one foundation. So I've got my knee bent, my left knee bent, my right leg is straight, my right foot is at an angle, the whole sole of the foot is on the earth. Right? Option to wear shoes, option to wear socks, whatever feels good here. And then if you would like to flow with me, you could reach forward for those giant levers, pull them back, straightening that front leg. Breathing in, reaching forward. Breathing out, pull back. A couple more at your own pace. And then let's go ahead and shorten the stance, moving into pyramid, resting the hands on the low back or sacrum. Bring the opposite hand on top from what you did before. And then I'm taking a bow, keeping my back straight here, so I'm not rounding my back or jutting my chin forward. It's a shorter stance from Warrior One. So if your back foot is way back, you might want to bring it a little bit forward. So you could stay static here, or you might want to flow with me. Coming up, arms are rising up. Taking a bow, hands come back behind us. We're squeezing those shoulder blades together. Breathing in, arms rise. Breathing out, arms back and squeeze. And maybe one more. All right, and now fun step up balance and step back. Maybe you swing your arms, maybe you don't, right? Just playing, finding your edge a little bit maybe, stepping forward, stepping back. And then we will find our high lunge pose. So I've got my left foot forward, my right foot back, all 10 toes pointing straight forward. I get in this shape and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm walking on a wire. So I walk my left foot to the left and I'm lifting my back heel up off the earth. So I'm getting a toe stretch, a calf stretch, squeezing that right glute muscle maybe. All right, and then I'm going to clap my hands in front of me and wipe left, twisting to the left, looking over that left shoulder, swing that arm to the front. Inhale, exhale, twisting left. Breathing in, arm to the front, breathing out. If this feels really good, you might want to do one more. And then we're coming out of our lunge posture very carefully, very slowly, walking it out, taking a sip of water. Awesome job, guys. We're going to do a little stretch now. So we'll make sure you have a wall nearby. And I see I'm creating a little sweat over at Anne's house. She's nice and hot where she is. Thinking about that sweat as a way to detox. All right, so making sure you're hydrating. I'm going to come to my wall here, and I'm just going to bring my hand to the wall, my fingertips touching, or my palm touching, whatever feels good. And I'm going to, so I have my right hand on the wall, and I'm going to turn my body to the left. So I'm feeling this stretch across the right pectoralis or chest muscle. And it doesn't matter if I can see you or not see you. You've got your hand on a wall, you're turning away from that arm. Taking a couple breaths. And then we can come back and switch sides. So I'm bringing my left hand to the wall. It's about shoulder height and straight. And then I'm turning my body to the right. So I could feel a stretch across that left pectoralis muscle, left shoulder, into the arm. Big breath in, big breath out. And then coming back, I'm going to find a way to do my downward facing dog. This might be that I go to the very same wall and place both hands on the wall and just fold forward and bend. This might be that I come to a countertop or a couch or chair. This might be that I come to the hands on the earth if I'm comfortable doing a down dog that way. So finding a way to stretch the backs of the legs and also lengthening the spine. So I could imagine the tailbone to the crown of the head getting a little bit longer. And I can feel a big stretch in my shoulders as well. 2 more breaths here. And then we're walking it up, coming out of it, and taking a wider stance. And we're just going to do 1 or 2 more standing poses, and then we'll come to a reclining posture and start to wind down. But I want to make sure we get the side body taken care of, all those muscles between the ribs and the connective tissue there that can get so inelastic. So I'm taking a wide stance, and I'm going to first do a couple hip circles in one direction, and the other. And then I'll take some side bends, reaching the right arm up and over and letting the left arm be loose and dangly. Imagine a rope that's just dropped down. I'm going to reach up for that rope and come back to center. Left arm lifting, bending a little bit and letting that right arm really relax and dangle, reaching up for that rope. Both legs are strong as we flow from side to side. Maybe 1 more on each side. And coming back. All right. So let's go ahead and widen our stance just a little bit. I'm going to bring my hands to my thighs and take a little forward fold. I'm not rounding my back here, but I am tucking my chin. And I'm going to go as far as feels okay to me. You could always rest the hands on a piece of furniture instead, or on the earth if that is an option for you. And then I'm coming up nice and slow. And I will maybe take one more sip of water, and we're going to get into some seated and reclining postures next. So go ahead and find your way to the ground. I'm going to take my same safe approach and just bring my hands onto my piece of furniture, tuck one, maybe my good knee, down onto the earth. And then coming to sit, I'm going to optionally sit on the edge of a blanket here. And I'm going to bring my soles of my feet together and my knees out to my sides in bound angle or butterfly pose. Baddha Konasana is called. And I'm just going to flap my butterfly wings a little bit. Take some breaths and just imagining those gold stars raining down on me for all of the beautiful work I've done today to care for myself. And then let's go ahead and bring the feet straight out in front. So I'll just show you from the side. Got the feet straight out in front, and then I'm going to bend my right leg. Bending my right leg with my left leg really engaged. So I've got my right knee in, my left leg long and engaged, and I'm going to take a tiny twist to the right, grabbing onto my knee and bringing my right arm behind me, like a kickstand. I might peek over my right shoulder, and I'm taking a breath here and exhaling. And one more breath. And then we're switching sides. So I'm lengthening my left leg, lengthening my right leg, bending my left knee, sitting up tall. Taking that breath in, and as I exhale, twisting to the left, making sure I keep my right leg engaged, right? So I've got that foundation there. Twisting to the left, breathing in, breathing out. And slow return back to center. I'm going to, at long last, come to lie on my back. So you might like a blanket under the head. I'm going to make sure that I have my strap nearby. And I'm slowly going to just come onto my back with a little bit of neck support in the form of my blanket. And I'm going to start with my knees bent and my hands just resting on my belly, and just taking a moment to kind of get comfortable here, feel the weight on the earth, feel that support of the earth. Giving the body a moment. Maybe you can feel the breath pushing into the hands, lifting the belly. And then let's go ahead and walk the feet out a little bit wider. So maybe to the edges of your yoga mat, and the arms can drape out to the sides. And I'm just going to let my knees wash from side to side in my windshield wipers. I just love this movement. It's so wonderful for releasing tension in the hip flexor muscles and the low back muscles. If we're seated a lot of the time during the day or stressed, right, our hip flexor muscles can become so tight. So this is something you can do to kind of unwind at the beginning or end of a practice or before bed even. All right, then I will go ahead and just hug the knees in towards the chest and rock the sacrum side to side. So I'm massaging my low back. I'll plant both feet on the earth and grab my strap. So I'm going to do a couple of leg stretches here. I'm going to take my strap, or whatever I'm using as a strap, and create a little loop. Step the right foot up into that loop. I'm holding a piece of the strap with each hand. And my left leg can be bent or extended, either one. It's not absolutely necessary for your right leg to straighten completely, but I am working towards that. And I'd like this to be an active stretch, not active in my neck or shoulders, but active in that I'm pushing my foot up into the strap and I'm also pulling the strap back. So I've just engaged some muscles that are going to help me not overstretch my hamstring. Finding your breath. And then I'll take my strap into just the right hand. My left arm is going to drape over to the left side, and I'm going to slowly open my right leg to the right, only going as far as feels safe. Right? I could, if I have the ability, I might be able to bring my right elbow onto the earth and bend that right arm. And if I'm really tight here, I'm not going to force it. I'm going to give myself a little leeway. I'm going to be kind to myself. My left leg is engaged to create that foundation. And then when you're ready, you can slowly come on back to center. And then just for a moment or two, I'll cross that right leg over the midline of my body so I can feel that whole IT band on the outside of my right leg stretching. Just breathing here. And then we'll come back to center, and I'm going to step my left foot up and switch sides. So my right leg can come onto the earth with the knee bent, or the right leg can be long. I'm holding a piece of the strap in each hand. Maybe it is a stretchy strap, which I prefer you don't use, but if that's what you got, that's what you got. And I'm going to make this active. How can I make this an active stretch? I'm going to push my foot into the strap and pull the strap back, but I'm going to relax my neck and my shoulders. And I'm working on finding what feels like healthy stretching sensation, which means the stretch will probably be felt away from the insertion point of the muscle, meaning away from my hips and more towards the belly of the muscle. And now I'm going to take my strap into the left hand, the right arm out to the right, and I'm gently opening that left leg to the left as far as feels safe. Keep that right leg engaged to help anchor you. Come on, back up when you're ready. Maybe it feels good to stay there longer. I'm going to cross the midline And that's a lot of sensation. I want to be careful here. My left leg over to the right just a little bit. And then we're releasing, bringing the strap down. And now I'm going to take my neck support away because I want to be safe in my bridge pose. So no neck support here, and I might even just cradle the base of my skull and give myself some gentle tractioning. So I'm pulling the head kind of away from the body and letting the head rest. And then I'll create little robot arms, bending my elbows and pushing the upper arms down into the earth, lifting my heart. My feet are hip distance apart, and I'm going to lift my hips up just a little bit, see how it feels, and then come right back down. I'm breathing in, lifting my hips. I go a little higher perhaps. Come back down. I'm never turning my head while I'm doing this. Breathing in, lifting the hips up. I might stay here. I might grab the edges of my mat and wriggle my shoulders underneath, get a little higher, or interlace the fingers if that's your practice. I'm going to stay here for 2 more breaths, lifting, lifting, lifting. And when I'm ready to come down, I'm going to release my arms overhead, reaching behind me. And I'm going to come down little by little. See if you can feel each individual vertebra. Kind of like a pearl necklace, setting that pearl necklace down, pearl by pearl. Beautiful, friends. Letting the arms come down by the sides. I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left knee, and then option, of course, to put that neck support back underneath if you like it. So I've crossed my right ankle over my left knee, and I'm going to reach up through the window of my legs and grab onto the back of my left thigh if that feels okay for me. And while I'm here, I might as well do some toe curls. So I'm curling my toes under, and then I'm stretching them wide. I might also be feeling a stretch in the outside of my right hip, my right glute muscle. And then I'll plant my left foot down and just cross that right knee over so the knees are nestling. Still got my right leg on top here. And I'm going to slowly drift my knees over to the left side while I reach my right arm to the right. I'm keeping my right shoulder melting into the earth. Maybe that left hand can rest on top of the leg. And I'm taking some easy breaths here. I'm starting to let go of all of this doing. Where can I let go of effort in my body? We'll slowly return, coming out of our gentle twist and taking our hip stretch with the left ankle over the right knee. Reaching up, grabbing onto the back of that right thigh if it's comfortable for you. So I've got my left ankle over my right knee, hugging it in and doing a set of toe curls if I like. Getting my hip stretch. Getting my glute muscle stretch. All right, so we used a lot of glutes in our chair poses today. When you're ready, you can place that right foot on the earth. Cross that left knee over so the knees are nestling. And we can just drift the knees to the right while we open. That left arm to the left shoulder is just melting into the earth. And always giving yourself whatever support, extra support you might need. If this feels like too much, you could rest something under the knees. Just taking some breaths and maybe taking off some of the layers of armor that we put on to navigate all of the challenges of being human. Just letting those layers fall away and getting to the core of just you, who you are in this moment. I could just be a body laying here on the earth. And then when I'm ready, I'll slowly come back to center one last time. I'll hug my knees into my chest. It might feel good to extend both legs up towards the ceiling and wag your feet a few times. Right? It might feel good to get into a really tight little ball, create a little seed of yourself. And then I'm getting ready for my final, most important pose of all. And this is our Shavasana pose, or a resting pose. So I'm going to get myself comfortable. I might put on a layer if I feel chilly. I'm going to have some support underneath my head. If I have low back issues, or if I just like it, I could place a pillow or my blocks or whatever I have available underneath my knees. I could take a blanket on top of the body. I could make an eye pillow resting on my eyes. If you don't have something to cover the eyes, you could use your strap. So sometimes I've seen my students do this. Just take the strap gently over the eyes to kind of block out a little bit of that stimulus of light. So getting yourself set up for a really comfortable position. And what I will do is get set up to provide a little bit of sound vibration support for your Shavasana. So maybe you get here and you don't feel totally comfortable. What I'll offer you to do is inhabit the body by tightening and contracting every muscle in the body and then letting it go. Like you could make fists, tense the fists, and then let that go. I'm taking a breath in, and as I exhale, I'm going to let go of effort throughout my body, little by little. Softening the base of my skull into the earth. Letting go of effort in my shoulders, down the lengths of both arms, into my fingertips. Letting my spine be supported, be held, all the way down to my hips, being held in this moment by our Waldenstrom's community. Letting go of effort down the lengths of both legs, letting the legs be like two heavy tree trunks, all the way down to the toes. Letting yourself soften and nestle into the earth. Imagining that little roots could sprout from all the places that your body's touching down. And you could draw up nourishment with each breath. Taking another few moments to do nothing. And in doing nothing, we are doing something. We're nourishing the immune system. Giving our bodies time to rest is integral. To come back if you're ready. Just widening out your awareness to the sounds in the room around you and to the feeling of having a body and the breath which infuses it. Creating some small movements. Again, only if you're ready to come back. Maybe wiggling the fingers and toes. Maybe stretching through the arms, through the legs. Maybe you're ready to roll onto one side and give yourself a little hug. I'm me. What a good thing to be. And when you're ready, you can come up to sit and just find a seated posture for one more moment so that we can seal our practice together with our puppies and our friends and our families. So sitting however feels best for you. Maybe you would like to bring your hands to heart center and holding space for this Waldenstrom's community and taking some breaths together. Closing our practice today with a short chant, the meaning of which is, may all beings everywhere be happy. Peace, peace, peace. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. thanking you so much for your practice today, friends. Namaste. I hope that you can take this fluidity with you into the rest of your day or evening and let it ripple outwards to those you come in contact with. Hope to see you soon.